Hi there, my name's Gill. I'm from Collaboration Global, and this is our podcast, Being Human, Hidden Depths. I'm going to be interviewing some of our members from Collaboration Global, and they're going to be sharing with you their extraordinary lives. Although they would probably believe they're just normal, everyday, average humans, but they are extraordinary. A bit like you and me. We all have our story to tell. We've all been through difficult times, and we've come out the other end having learned an extraordinary amount about ourselves that we can share with others. So I think you'll find lots of things that will resonate with where you've been in your journey as well. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Hello and welcome to Being Human, Hidden Depths. I do apologise to all our listeners because we started this podcast about 10 minutes ago. We did into this conversation, and I'm so happy to now press the record button because I'm desperate for you all to meet the irascible, the irrepressible, the I've lost all my fear, Netty Wilson. Welcome, Netty. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Gill. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on here. And we've met a few times now, and it's always been very enlightening and inspiring to speak with you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, my darling. It just feels that the more we have a conversation, the more I feel like you're the best friend that I never had when I was younger. It's like we have so much in common, and we kind of have a rant about the same things. And it's like, oh, I agree. Yes, that's amazing. And all of a sudden, we kind of like, oh God, I feel like we must have met in another life.
I agree.
Lifetime.
I completely agree. There's definitely a connection, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So let me introduce you properly. Netty Wilson is the founder of BUDEFUL Life, which I'm dead jealous because she lives in the gorgeous Bude, North Cornwall, and she gets to go to the ocean every day if she wants to, and that's my special place. So I don't really know why you're going there. That's my place, where I go through all my big decisions. It's such a source of energy and power. Can you tell us, firstly, let's start the ball rolling the way we normally do. When you came to Collaboration Global, what did you first think of it? Just a little snippet of your impressions.
Very welcoming. I think I met yourself first, and just found you very welcoming, very down to earth. And for me, the people that I've met through Collaboration Global have all been very kind. I mean, just kindness seems to be at the core of this whole community, and for me that's been very welcoming. And just anybody that's reached out to me privately on messages, on Zoom calls, has always followed through, and just been incredibly like Gina, for example, just incredibly kind, supportive. What can I do to help? So I'm happy to be part of the community because I'd like to be part of that and help to give back as well. So yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I've noticed from you so far, is that is your inherent go-to is how can I give back? It's this, as you say, they're helping you and you automatically want to go, how can I help back? So you're based in Bude in gorgeous West Country. For those of you who don't know England, it's the little taily bit on the end on the left-hand side, which has some of the most beautiful countryside in England, but pretty much thinks it's a country on its own, I think, doesn't it? Once you cross over the Tamar, they're totally different, got their own language, got their own way of doing things, everything's directly, nothing.
Totally, yeah.
So how did you come to live in Bude? Tell us that story.
Jill, it's an interesting story. I'd been coming down here for many years. My brother moved down here over 20 years ago. And to cut a long story short, when my kids were younger, and I was married to my husband, we've since split amicably, it's all fine. We came down here to visit. And when I went through our divorce and was thinking about what was I going to do with my life, the kids had grown up, where did I want to be, what did I want to do? My brother said, well, just come stay with me, see how you feel about it. And I just came down to Bude and just loved the vibe. Just the whole coastline. The North Cornish coast has an energy. It's got a passion to it because it's so dramatic. I mean, it's all of the sort of, it just reminds me of Daphne du Maurier, which is why she loved it.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody's read the book Frenchman's Creek. But I read it many years ago, and it's just got that passion, that romance, that energy that I have never found anywhere else. And it's just the waves. I mean, at the moment it's cold, wet, and windy, but we're out every day walking our dogs, and I don't care. We just get our coats on, we take the
Yeah.
dogs out, and those waves just crashing, and it's the landscape is forever changing. It's never the same 2 days in a row. And as an artist, I find it just so incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, it's is it the ozone? It's just as the waves are pounding, it just fills you with this oxygen that it kind of lifts your lungs and lifts your life. And I know we go down most years, once or twice a year, and I feel when I get to Cornwall and I get out of the car and I see the view, whether it's at Padstow or St Ives or Port Isaac or wherever, or Bude, it brings me to tears because I just feel so happy to be there.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. I just can't help myself but cry in a
Yeah.
happy way, happy tears. And
Yeah.
it does, and the people that you meet there, the artists, whether it's a silversmith or somebody painting out in the fresh air or whatever, they are so passionate about what they do, and the people that create the food, everything is just such perfect way of life almost. But please don't keep going down there, everybody, because it gets a bit busy. So I don't want to recommend it to anybody. It's awful, really.
A dreadful place, awful place. You don't ever want to move here.
I do remember a lot of kids' holidays though when I was younger, going down and it's weather exactly like this, and you're sitting indoors going, do we want to go out? Do we want to go out?
Get the wellies on, come on, let's go.
I've swum in the Atlantic Ocean when it's been pouring down with rain, and my mum and dad were sat in deck chairs on the beach with an anorak or an umbrella saying, come on, come out now. And I'm like, no, 5 more minutes.
I know, it's that's one of the things that I found about being here is that people, we've got a saying with our store that's in Bude, because we've obviously, we've got a little store which we can talk about in a minute. But one of the things that people run in and say to us, and we've had feedback on, is that people say, Bude is my happy place.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is, isn't it? And it's those memories that you build in childhood, like you're saying, they stay with you forever. And so yeah, that's something we embrace with what we do, is those memories, and help to have that feeling,
So you tell us that you're an artist. So how did an artist get to have a shop down in Bude? What was the journey to get you to where you are now?
It was walking actually on the downs overlooking the sea where I live, because I live literally 5 minutes from the beach, and was taking the dogs out one morning, and there's a little storm tower which since has been moved actually to preserve it. They're moving it inland a little bit.
Wow.
But it was seeing that little tower on the cliff edge, and I just went, that is the perfect little icon and picture, with the cliff top and the sea and the sun coming down for a logo. And that didn't kind of go away, and it kind of sat with me for a while. And then walking on the beaches and seeing all the waste washed up on the shoreline, and I thought, I need to do something about this, be a catalyst for change. And that's how the BUDEFUL brand came into being. And the name was literally a wake up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, going, wonder if anybody's got that domain name. And then
I love it.
Going, no one's got it. So and there began the BUDEFUL brand, and the ideas and the fun and the love for the area that we live in. And I'm hoping that we've embraced that and built on that. And certainly, in the 4 or 5 years we've been going, people are starting to recognize who we are, and making requests for us to do certain things, and oh, can you do this? And that's how the Happy Place range came about, really, was people coming in. So we've got baseball hats with Bude is my happy place, beanies, we've got t-shirts, we've got canvas, prints with all the wording, bumper stickers and all that kind of stuff. But it's been inspired by people coming in and telling us how much they love this place. So
yeah, I can understand why. It's incredible. So have you got some of your art in the shop as well? Do you?
I work very closely, yes I have, and I work very closely with a graphic designer, because everything that goes on to merchandise, and to merchandising products and to creating products has to go through a sort of graphic process, so that it can then go to print and be manufactured. Yes. So some of my drawings couldn't go from the sort of bare sort of sketches of what they are. They go through a process. But I collaborate very closely with our creative director, Lindsay Cummins, who has worked in film and television, and I'm incredibly lucky to be working with him. He's the most fantastic guy as well. So we're a pair of idiots when we get together. Oh, let's do this, and oh, let's do that, and how about this, and why don't we do that? And you know, we've got a list so long of all these creative ideas that we've got, and I just can't wait for the day when I can get back to being creative and get back in the sandpit to the creative bit, because at the moment I'm focusing on a lot of the business side, because that's what happens when you run a business, isn't it? It gets sucked into all of that admin bit. But I'm hoping at some point, we'll be able to pay somebody to take that over and I can continue to be creative. But I do what I can when I can now.
Yeah. Do you do it for fun as well? I mean, in your quiet moments when you just kind of want to chill out?
Yeah.
I know so many people that have that artistic ability. I think we've all got artistic ability. It's just whether we've honed it and you see it for what it is. But I get, it's like playing the piano or anything else. I get that it's a release from stress. When you're doing something you love and you feel quite comfortable at it, it's like whether you're playing a game of tennis. If that's something that you really feel like accomplished at, I can imagine that's a stress relief. And there are so many people that go on painting courses and things, don't they? Just to kind of go, and just relax.
Takes you to another place, takes you to a different state of mind, and when you're in that place, it's just lovely, isn't it? Because you forget about all the the chores or the things you've got to do, the list that's that long. You go into a different zone, and it's great to do that. I think
it's almost like you have to take different parts of your brain and go, right, okay, now I'm thinking about numbers. Oh, okay, I can do numbers. That's all right. I'm fine. I can do numbers. And then it's like, oh, now you've got to write an article. For me, I'm like, that's my happy place when I'm writing something special. Or sometimes there's the spreadsheet or the admin or something, and you're like,
I know you only have to say spreadsheet to me, and I'm like, can I give that to somebody else?
Please, anybody. Where's the dog? The dog can do it.
Probably do a better job than me, actually.
I know that feeling. Oh, see, we're so much alike. It's crazy. Except I'm not a drawer, but maybe you'll teach me one day. Talking about getting things done, though, I'm always very impressed by what you were saying earlier about you're grabbing AI, artificial intelligence, with both hands and utilizing it so much in the business as well. Now, that's interesting, because to me, there's a little bit of a juxtaposition between the brand of the happy place and love and coming together, and then you're going, oh no, I'm going to outsource that to a machine. It just feels, but common sense says, why would you not do that? It sounds brilliant. So what sort of things are you using it for?
Well, I went on a course recently, a 6-week sort of sprint course, and just to understand it, because I think it's one of those things, again, we touched on fear of things earlier on, and I'm not afraid to try anything now and to really sort of dive in and have a really good sort of poke around and look at something, because it is the way that the world is going. And I thought, well, we can either push it to one side and ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist and get left behind, or take a good look at it, see what it can do, and know how to use. It's knowing how to use something. It's not going to take over the world. It's something that's a tool, and it's a very interesting tool. But you've got to know, the thing that I've found out, and the biggest lesson I've learned, is you've got to know how to phrase your words and give it the commands it needs so that you get the output the other end. If you put something in and it hasn't got the right words that you're putting in, and it actually likes you to be very polite to it as well, I've discovered. Please and thank you. Please, can you? Always gets a better response than do this, So it's knowing how to structure those questions to then get the output that you need for whatever it is you're trying to do. So yeah, I find it incredibly interesting, and I think for me, it's taken away that sort of, oh gosh, I need to write a blog, or I need to write some content for the website. That's going to take me 2 or 3 hours to get that right. If I give the words that I'm thinking of, the kind of context and the sort of thing I want to say, give it to the AI chatbot, ChatGPT, it pulls something out for me that I go, oh my gosh, I love the way that's phrased. And then I can go in and change bits and do that. But it stops me having to really kind of get in there, and it's saving me time. The biggest thing at the moment is it's saving me time.
But a lot of people, Exactly. A lot of people find that blank page terrifying, and it takes them a long time to get the very first sentence, and then they're off. But if you've got somebody else to create that for you, then you've got the essence to go, well, no, I'm going to take that paragraph and put it down there, and I'm going to squidge that in there, and you've got it, and you're just playing with it. The only thing I would be wary of is if you have anything that is trademarked, or any piece of content that you want that is your own, if you put it into ChatGPT, it then becomes part of its search engine.
Yeah.
So potentially it's going out all over the place, so you can't protect it. Not that I'm a great one for protecting stuff anyway. I think there's nothing new under the sun. Whatever we think is the brilliant idea, Aristotle probably had it first. You know, somebody else has already had it out there. It's just how it's utilized and where it comes
Absolutely. And for me, it's more descriptive. It's more describing our products. It's more describing, you know, what the sort of content for a blog, and the tone of voice that we would use for Beautiful. And I find that really interesting, that you can actually, you know, ask it to use your tone of voice, and it starts to utilize that. And that for me is really interesting.
And the more you use it, the more it's going to pick up as well, isn't
it? Absolutely. So, but we're just trialing at the moment a little chatbot on our website, and it's a little concierge button. And it's like, how can I help you today? And you click in there, and it suggests our products and things, and you can ask it questions. And of course, the more you input, the more it learns. So I'm asking everybody at the moment, I would love, you know, everybody to give that a go and give us some feedback. If there's something that's not working, or they get frustrated, I would love to have that feedback so we can address it and fine tune it.
So the website is beautifullife.com.
It's beautiful.com.
Beautiful.com.
Yeah. So www.budeful.com.
As in beautiful, word of warning though. So there's two things. Firstly, carrying on from what you talked about with the website, there is now a thing available, which I saw on a call the other night, where you can record yourself answering 2 or 3 questions that somebody might send in for that sort of chat bot. So rather than having a little chat bot there, it's got you in the corner. They put in their question, the AI goes through it, and you answer the question, which is very personable, isn't it? It's your face, you know, and it's not you them sort of voicing over for you. It is still your voice, and it is you doing it. But what's really clever is you might have rehearsed 2 or 3 answers, but then the chat bot will create the rest. And not only will it create the rest, it will scrape your voice and then put it onto your video of you talking. So you are actually talking words that you never said in answer to the questions that whoever's visited your website has put on there. And it's so clever, you cannot even see the difference on the mouth as it's moving. So, yeah, it literally looks like you. So it's like, this is Netty answering a question that she actually answered in the video. And then this is Netty answering a question that she's never even heard of and never answered, and the words come out of her mouth. So whoever goes on your website will put in a question, and you will definitely answer it from whatever information it's been given. From that
wow, that's really clever.
It's so clever, but also slightly scary. How does it? So how do you tell in a court of law if a video testimonial has been messed about with? I don't know, but that's just. And I believe the person that has created this thing is offering it for free at the moment, so people can go in and do that for free, which is spooky. The other thing, talking about what's genuine and what's not, I saw a tweet from Caitlin Moran. I think it was this morning, actually. She writes for The Guardian. If you've never read her book, How to Be a Woman, oh my God, she's written about 4, but How to Be a Woman, she's so funny, so clever, so true. You laugh just until you cry, and yet you're going, so damn true. That's exactly the world we live in. She's a clever woman. Anyway, she liked something whereby there was an old people's home, and there were lots of old people who had knitted cats to keep them company. But these cats were bigger than the women. And they were sat next to these cats with, you know, cute little faces, and it's all knitted. And Caitlin Moran's gone, oh, this is amazing. How did they do that? And all people going, this is incredible. This is fantastic. Tweet, tweet, tweet. About the 10th tweet down, because I was scrolling, it's like, girls, come on, do your resources. You're a bloody journalist. And it was all AI had created the images, had created the idea, had created the tweet. It was all not true. There's also somebody on Instagram who is photos. She's got 120,000 followers on Instagram. She's got 3 million on LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. And she's earning money as a result of what she's doing. She doesn't actually exist. It's all made up. Not the money and not the followers and not the actual account, but the person doesn't exist. So AI has made up the person and they've put them into these situations. So thinks, hang on, if AI can have 120,000 followers, what am I doing?
It's someone was saying about these influencers as well. There's these influencers that you know, young girls and young people are following, and they're actually fake.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Catfish.
Someone's earning a lot of money somewhere.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I want to hear more about me in the corner of our website going, hello.
Yeah, that'd be fun though, wouldn't it? I like that idea. That's really clever. So moving on from the sort of day-to-day running and wanting to clone yourself several times over.
Yes.
When you go on the beach, I know one of the things that you realize, and more and more of us are realizing, is the mess and the waste and the rubbish that's around at the moment. I know it's a pet cause of yours. Tell us how that's kind of solidified itself.
Well, it's one of the core reasons why I think I said in the beginning that BUDEFUL came into being, was seeing all the waste kind of washed up on the shorelines around our beautiful beaches. And you know, going out with the dogs in the morning, we've got a bag and we put stuff in there, from deflated footballs to, you know, barbecues that have been discarded, especially at this time of year in the summer when the weather's nice, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, just and it made me sort of question and dig a little further into, you know, exactly how much waste does impact, you know, the sea life. And over the last 40 years, the impact has been absolutely huge. I mean, there are huge plastic islands that wildlife live on. My partner's in the Merchant Navy, and he was out on the oceans for many years, and he's actually seen them, and he said they're just vast.
Yeah.
And it's just all the plastic wastes that, you know, can't break down. So that's one of the reasons for BUDEFUL, that we have minimal packaging. And when we went to our suppliers, they were talking about how, you know, would you like your shipments packaged? Would you like, you know, a nice little hanging tag? Would you like? And I was like, no, I don't want any of it. It's all going to be on our shelves. There'll be a little price on there, and you can take it home. And we have a, you know, ethically sourced bag that can be dropped into. But there's no, you know, no cello wrapper at all around our products. And if our, you know, we have got a cello wrapper like we have on our greetings cards, it's all made from corn and potato starch that breaks down. There's no need for all this packaging. There really isn't. It's just to make things look pretty, and actually it's not making our world look pretty. It's making it look pretty awful.
Yeah.
So I think it's,
I was just gonna say, everything that is made like this is so called for our convenience, but everything that's made for our convenience is actually killing us one way or another. And it's crazy.
So and having a huge impact, you know.
What
400 million marine animals die each year.
Say that again.
400 million marine animals die each year from plastic waste alone. 400 million.
And that's, people look at that and they go, oh, what can I do? How can I make an impact? As though one person can't do anything. Well, no, one person on their own, but if we all did something, for example, if we said to our family, we are never going to buy a plastic bottle of water again. We're not going to buy them because they'll end up being thrown somewhere, on landfill somewhere. We're not going to buy them. We're going to take a container, we're going to fill it up with water, and we're going to carry it around with us. It's exactly the same as going out and spending, I don't know, £1 on a bottle of water that's plastic. We can all do our bit, and if everybody did that, then the people that sell the little bottles of water in plastic would have to think of something else to sell, not in plastic. And although it's the big companies that are going to have to adjust and cope with that, I don't think we're putting anyone out of business by making those small decisions and small choices. But the things that our parents used to do as common sense, you know, like if you had a bottle of lemonade, which was a big treat, it was a glass bottle, and you would take it back the next day when it was empty, and you'd get your tuppence back for taking the glass bottle back, and it was recycled. What's wrong with going down that route again, you know? And some places
nothing at all, apart from big corporations making a lot of money, obviously, out of it. That's the problem,
And
isn't
that's
it?
why they don't like doing it. Yeah, awful.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a story from Emily Penn, who's a big oceanographer, if that's the right expression. She works with scientists around exactly what you're talking about, and she worked, I want to say, in the Galapagos Islands, but it was in the middle of frigging nowhere, and there was there was a big storm, and she was on an island. I think it was a tsunami. That's right. And they knew it was coming. The animals kind of warned that there was something going on, so they all went to one side of the island. And then when they came back again and saw the devastation that had been caused, everything was flattened, but all the rubbish that was on the beaches that had been swept in from the sea. And she said, we waited and we waited and we waited, because she was working on this island. We waited for 9 months for the Red Cross to give us the money so we could rebuild, but they had to come and see the devastation before we got the money, so we couldn't do anything. So it was really difficult to survive in those circumstances. So after those 9 months and they started rebuilding, I got a job that was in 2 islands down, because there's like thousands of islands there. So she went to the next place, 2 islands down, the space of like a day's journey. And she said, and everyone was fine. And I was like, oh, wow, the tsunami missed you then. And they went, no. They said, well, how come everything's brilliant? And they said, well, we put it back again, didn't we? They didn't get any funds from the Red Cross. They didn't expect any funds. They didn't think they could get any funds. So they didn't have to wait for the money to come in for them to actually clean up themselves. And they put it all back to the way it was within those 9 months and got on with it. It's funny, the state of mind that we are now in, where governments want handouts. You know, and I know when something devastating has happened, we all need to pitch in and help. But now is the mentality of, oh, this has happened, so, you know, France has got to give us 5 million and UK has got to give us this much, and they wait for it until they start work on what needs to be done. It's interesting if a small island of maybe 2,000 people can put things right without actually having to. And how did people survive previously, before we had this system of handouts, where along the way, as handouts happen, it's like, well, I'll hand it to you and I'll have that bit, and I'll hand it to you and I'll have that bit. So actually, by the time it gets to the end user, not quite so much left to
yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, the point of you know, what is it, you said, what is it that I can do? And I heard something recently, it was something like, what is it that I can do, say 1 million people, yes, or 1 billion people?
Yeah.
You know, if you've got all those voices going, what is it I can do? There's a hell of a lot if you all get together.
That's the concept.
Like you're saying, you know, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the concept of Collaboration Global, you know, together we're stronger. And then old African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
And it's true, by getting people together, we can solve all the world's problems.
Yeah.
But at the moment, the blockage is we've been taught to be separate, and we've been taught to, you know, you can't copy from me. That's called cheating. Rather than me going, here, have my stuff, share, let me help you. There's the mindset and the mentality of competition. So you have to fear the other person doing the same job as you. Scarcity, there's not enough to go around. You need to book your seat at this event because there's not enough seats to go around, or you know, all that kind of, or I haven't got enough money to pay my mortgage, so I'm in fear to work out how I can do it, so I've got to sell really hard to you so I get some money for my income. Hang on, there is enough to go around if we just take a breather and go, how can I help you? And it might mean you're going over a bad hump and you need to be helped with that, whether it's financially or whether it's, you know, teaching you something or sharing good business practice. But that's what Collaboration Global is for, to kind of help each other without having to do the hard sell, without having to work on your business in a way that actually doesn't serve you or doesn't make you feel good about it. And that's what I love about your business, is it is about your happy place. It is about come and enjoy this space. It is about take a bit of this space home with you. You come and buy this beautiful mug, and every time you look at it when you're drinking your cup of tea, you're going to remember this happy place that you spent time in. And it's spreading that little bit of happiness.
Yeah, it's all about that sort of anchoring, isn't it? It's that anchoring to that place. We've all had, you know, throughout our life, something that, you know, maybe it's a treasured piece of jewelry that's from a grandmother, or, you know, and when you hold that piece or remember her, you can smell a perfume, or how she held your hand when you were a child. And it's those anchoring things, and that's what we really love about our, what we're trying to do with our brand. It's like, our handmade pottery mugs, which we've just launched, have really been successful. And it's about that, buying something special that isn't, it's not a seasonal fashion or fad. That's not what we're about. We're not like a Wayfair or something like that, where you go into and say, right, okay, well, this year I'm going to have a cream color scheme.
Yeah.
And when you're done with it, you throw it all away and go, well, this year I'm going to go purple. That's not what we're about as a brand. These pieces you buy and you love and you cherish them for many years, or until you break it and you need to buy a new one, or you add to the collection. We want to build on this pottery. We're now going to be doing dog bowls, and we want to do plates and teapots and all those kind of things, so you can add to it, but hopefully it'll become a treasured thing in your home, and not something that you're going to go, right, okay, well, I'm done with that now and it's going on the scrap heap. It's much more that sort of Japanese, sort of, or a more Asian way of thinking. It's like the teapots that they take care of, and the pieces of pottery that they mend, and then they put gold leaf in. It's that kind of, we need to get back to those values in retail. And that's really what I'm trying to instill with BUDEFUL, is that whole, don't just buy it because it's a piece of something. We're not a typical sort of tourist shop. We're not. We're much more. I don't know if you've done it, Gill, where you've gone to, I don't know, somewhere like I don't know, sort of Spain, and you've got the little gecko lizards that are a magnet, and you stick them on your fridge, and you get home and you go, why did I buy that? Now I've done it. Exactly. So much more about, well, if I'm going to buy something while I'm on holiday, let it be something that's really lovely and I'm going to treasure for a long time. And yeah, that's what we're about. We don't get a catalogue and go, right, I'm going to have 100 of these shipped from China to put in our store. Everything is locally sourced and UK made if we can't get it locally. It's a UK based supply chain, so we work really hard on that. And I think those are the values that need to be, like you said, with the refilling the bottle at the corner shop, or taking your empties back. We need to get back to some of those values.
I think the tide is turning. I think since the pandemic, I think people are realizing what's important, and what is important are people and making memories. And you've reminded me that when we have a barbecue at our house and we have loads of people over, all of my dishes come out, so I can put all the food in, and it's like, well, those dishes came from Portugal and those came from the Algarve, and they're all holidays. I always, wherever I go, I buy some china to remind me of that time. And I remember how old the kids were, I remember what we did, and I could talk for hours over just one bowl. In fact, I've got some from Portugal when we went on our honeymoon in 1984. So there were 3, now there's only 2, but I love them to death. And they are typical in the style of the original Portuguese, and I love them. Had to smuggle them in the suitcase, and luckily they didn't get broken on the way home.
And I bet you remember every place you visited, and what the weather was like, and how you felt on that trip, and all those and the music that was around at the time. Isn't it incredible how those things can spark a memory?
And you know what, 20 years ago, I could have very easily let them go when we had a fancy new dinner service. I thought, I won't need those anymore, but my heart wouldn't let me give them away. So I still need them, and I still use them. And it's like, it does become that special thing. And hopefully when I snuff it, my kids will go, oh yeah, they're mum's dishes. There's 2 there, you can have one each. That sort of.
Yeah, and then the grandkids come along, and you suddenly see a photograph of one of them eating off one of those plates, and you're connecting the old with the new, and all of those sorts of things. I love all that.
I do. And I think that's what's special about what you're doing, is you are giving people the opportunity to create those memories, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? A friend of mine once said, when you're old and you're sort of in your 80s and you're sitting in your bath chair and somebody else is wiping your bum, he said, it's the memories that will keep you going. You might not be able to do very much, but it's those memories that you'll look back on. So you have to make them while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting. Some of the I mean, I'm sort of at the time in my life where you're kind of sort of thinking about, well, retirement's not that far away. Should I be taking life easier? And I remember listening, I think it was probably to Tony Robbins actually, saying, some of the people that he's met that are really successful business people didn't make it till their 80s.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing. They just stuck at it and stuck at it and stuck at it. And I think I'm one of those people who will never let up, a bit like Vivienne Westwood, who I absolutely love, just
Yeah.
purely because of her can do, I'm going to do things my way mentality. I'm not going to swear, but she was really two fingers up, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And what a
Absolutely.
great woman, and what a great creative person. And I've heard some wonderful things about her. From being in, art schools in Berlin, where she'd go over and she'd teach the students, and she'd just go over and do it because she felt she wanted to give back to the younger generation. And it's just all of those sort of ideas. And I think she died in her 80s, and she gave her much younger husband a long list of things that he had to carry on and do.
Perfect.
And I
Perfect.
absolutely love that. Even beyond the grave, she still lives on. And it's that never giving up and having that zest for life that I think is so important. And I think we've lost, like you were saying about the pandemic, it took everybody on such a downer, particularly young people. I think we need to rise up and start inspiring people again, and start saying, hey, come on, we can do this. Let's all pull together, and let's all inspire now. Let's forget what's happened in the past. Let's be done with that, and let's all move on and write a new chapter.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely. And I agree. There's so many people like Louise Hay, who was the founder of Hay House Publishing Company. The amount of books that woman has been responsible for is phenomenal. But I don't think she started till she was in her late 60s or 70s, like 67 or something. And then Colonel Sanders, obviously, the classic example of he was in his 60s before he actually.
Who knows when that moment of inspiration is going to hit?
It's timing.
None of us do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And there was an article I read a little while ago about all the great billionaires of the day. And it's like, how did they become billionaires? And it is down to timing. It's like, if he had been born 5 years earlier, then that wouldn't have been available, and he wouldn't have found that. If he had been in the different place at the different time, then he wouldn't have been able to do that. If he hadn't been sacked, if Steve Jobs hadn't been sacked by Apple, then he wouldn't have been able to do that and then come back again and do. And it's like, it's pieces of a jigsaw working it out. And it's not necessarily nose to the grindstone. It's about having a good support network around you and timing for when society is right to hear the message. And I think for me, if I had talked about collaboration 10 years ago, which I did start the conversation then, kind of fell on deaf ears. Everyone was like, no, I'm all right, Jack. I can do this. I'm all right. I don't need anyone else. And now people go,
much more of an egotistical approach, and that's changed, hasn't it? We've got to find a new way of doing business, and that's how you and I met, was through Mark Lader. And I've had conversations with him, and he's very much of that thinking and that new sort of way of collaboration and working in business, and everybody supporting each other. And it's that whole sort of idea in America, that there's a community that will come together to help build the first house. And they'll all get together, and then the women will be there, with the food and making the fabric goods and everything else, and the guys will be knocking together this house, and they'll all work together till the first house is built. Then they'll all sort of kind of live around that little house or that big house, and then they'll move on to the next one, and then everybody gets what they need. That's how business needs to work, is that if you need a social media person to come in, like we do at the moment, someone to help with our media, for them to come in and to help us to grow the brand, would we go anywhere else for our social media after they've invested their time and their goodwill? And no.
Exactly.
Because we've got the same core values, and we trust one another, and all those relationships have been built right from the very beginning. So I think it's really important to have all of that together.
It feels like common sense, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
And yet so many people are scared about, or awkward, or don't know how to do it. And I think that's why having a community where we can try stuff out is really useful. And what I love about you joining the community is we're trying something out. Because although we've had people join us in the past that have had a group within our platform, they've been short-lived and they've only been there for a little while. But you're kind of coming, say, this is my space. And your community, when they follow you for Beautiful Life, will also be coming into the group and into your group, but also part of our community. So for me, that's a win-win-win-win-win for so many people. It's a win for you. It's a win for your community, because you get to associate with our community. You get to have content being delivered so that your community are going to be learning from our community get to go, oh, what's Netty doing over there? I might be interested in that. So they get something else that is going to be of value to them, whether it's you're talking about your branding, or whether you're talking about how to go about funding, or just talking about the concept of how you came to be Beautiful Life. It's going to be so valuable to have that for our members as well. And it's just going to make the platform a livelier place. So I'm excited to see where we go with this, because I think the only way any company, any community can grow is by trying stuff out. And you know,
Totally.
even if we fail, we'll have learned so much as a result. But I think when your heart is in it, why would you fail? So long as you keep the lines of communication open, we'll keep finding there will be problems, I'll guarantee it, but there will also be solutions popping up all over the place, and we will just jump over those problems like they're, you know, the tiniest little hurdle that is barely worth talking about, and we'll get on and we'll get it done. Because when you believe in something, like you believe in collaboration, I believe in Beautiful Life, where's it going to take us? This is an exciting time for you and I, but also for everyone that's associated around us are going to be going, look, what's they doing over there? That's really, I wonder how they, let's see if we can do that. Should we do that? And if another company do exactly the same as we're doing, to me, that's a win. They're not in competition. That's a win, because we've created something that's replicable and can support more and more people. So let's see where it turns up.
Let's see let's see what happens. Exciting times ahead. But you're right, collaboration is the way to go. And certainly I'm part of a network called Your Partnerships as well, which is a very fast growing network here in the Southwest. And you know, I've seen that grow from when I first met David Brock, who's the founder. And again, I met Mark Leader through him as well. So there's all connections here. He's an incredible human being, and it's just seeing how his journey and how he's grown. And he's so supportive of other businesses and other people. And his whole philosophy is based around, you know, helping others, and, you know, who can I connect you with that might help you to do this and achieve that. Exciting times.
Yeah, indeed. I can't let you go without finding out about your dogs. I don't have a dog of my own. I just borrow my daughter's every so often. So and you get to take them for a walk on that lovely beach. Again, I'm not jealous at all. What sort of dogs?
Next time you're down here, well, you'll definitely have to come and meet me and the dogs.
Be knocking on your door. Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've got two rescue dogs. One is a corgi mixed with a Labrador. Ooh. So he looks like a Labrador, but he's got little teeny tiny short legs.
Bless.
Called Tag, and he's from Spain. He's Spanish rescue. And then I've got another one which is Coney, which is a Cypriot breed mixed with miniature poodle.
Oh, gosh.
So they're two very different dogs, but they're both rescue, and they have the best life.
I'll bet. They have a beautiful life.
They do have a beautiful life.
Listen, if anybody wants to get hold of you, Netty, what's the easiest way for people to catch up with you?
Well, of course, the community on Collaboration Global can get to me through yourself, your good self, and LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. So Netty Wilson on LinkedIn, and through BUDEFUL, we've got a page on there. And come and follow us on all of our social media. We've got a Facebook page, we've got Instagram, TikTok, and you can message on our website as well.
Awesome, because you've got a little AI chatbot on there at the moment.
We've got a little chatbot, yes.
So you want people to go there and try it out, and then
I do. Just give us some feedback. That would be amazing. Yeah.
So look out for BUDEFUL, as in BUDEFUL.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. No, it'd be great.
And of course, if anybody would like to meet Netty online, she's often at our Collaboration Global sessions, always the last Tuesday of the month. So yeah, come along and catch her and send her a little message on the chat space in Zoom as well. If you want to come to a Collaboration Global session, you can find them on our website, collaborationglobal.org, and book through there, or just go on to Eventbrite and search for Collaboration Global, and you'll find us there, and you can register for one of those fun sessions. Thank you so much, Netty. I really enjoyed this.
Me too, Jill.
I cannot wait to come and see your shop and buy some of your gorgeous stuff and have a walk with you on the beach. It's going to be fantastic. But thank you.
Yeah, no, I'd love that, Jill.
Thank you for being part of our community.
Bless you. Thank you very much too.
Okay, take care. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.